Treasures, the ultimate scourge of the format, giant pain in the tuchus, but like most Magic players, I like being a giant pain in the tuchus. Vihaan Goldwaker, the Fresh Maker, Life Taker, Bread Baker, Moonraker, Laser Maker. I like this little fella's swag. He looks pretty happy amidst his pile of golden doubloons. There's no way around it. Some of the most expensive cards in the format generate treasures, and we're going to talk a little bit about those and some secret tech for this guy. But first, take a minute to like, subscribe, hit me with some sweet comments, brother. Alright, let's take a look at the card. Vihaan Goldwaker, red, white, and a black for a legendary creature, dwarf warlock. It's a 3/3. Other outlaws you control have vigilance and haste. I mean, this alone is pretty decent. An outlaw lord that grants 2 relevant abilities. That's great. The super tribe is very interesting, and these colors have lots of sacrifice synergies right off the rip. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have treasures you control become 3/3 construct, assassin, artifact, creatures, in addition to their other types until end of turn. Fascinating commander. There are just a ton of cards that consistently make treasures and can serve as alternate win conditions. Now, of course, the main strategy in this deck is to create lots of treasures. No better way to do that than Smothering Tithe, Reaver Cleaver, Dockside Extortionist, and Ancient Copper Dragon. I mean, come on, dude, these cards are so expensive, just proxy the damn things. They're pricey as heck. We all want to show how cool we are, how many cool cards we have, but I gotta buy food, brother. I need 200 grams of protein per day. And I won't belabor this point. We want to make treasures. We all know what cards do that. So what are we going to do with these treasures? You know, that's what this video is all about. Alright, so we all agree treasures are good. Well, you can make them into 3/3 creatures, which is awesome. If you could pay 1 mana for a creature that sacrificed itself and gave you mana back, you probably would. But you get this for free. People still play Eldrazi spawn, and that's how you should think of these guys. An aristocrat strategy that pays off when creatures die is never a bad way to go. It's a well-worn archetype and one that is enabled very nicely by Vhan. So I went ahead and did a Scryfall search for outlaws that make treasures. Outlaws like the Ruthless Knave here. So this is an Orc Pirate. Tap, sacrifice a creature, create 2 treasure tokens. Sacrifice 3 treasures, draw a card. So basically this can pay off the fact that the treasures are creatures until end of turn. Sack 1, make 2 after they bang in for combat. Now the backbone of the deck is these additional little punishers like Ingenious Artillerist. Whenever 1 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, Ingenious Artillerist deals that much damage to each opponent. You also have cards like Hedron Detonator, very similar card. When an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, Hedron Detonator deals 1 damage to target opponent. Has tap, sacrifice 2 artifacts, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. We also have staples of the token genre, Mirkwood Bats and Nadir's Nightblade. Great thing about treasures is that you don't need sacrifice outlets to trigger the old Nightblade. Just sacrifice the damn treasures to make mana once you get enough. And then of course you have Marionette Master, 4 black, creature, human artificer. It's a 1/3, has Fabricate for 3. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to put 3+1/+1 counters on it. Whenever an artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. Classic finisher in these types of decks. Plus, you know, I like her swag, I like her style, I like the way she tells me what to do. You know, I don't want to think about things, dude. I just want somebody to pull the strings, brother. Gear per Aether Grid is great, especially when your 3/3 treasure constructs have vigilance because they're assassins, brother. They can bang in then tap for damage. And we want to keep up the drain. We'll have lots of critters to attack with, so consider Sentinel Sarah Lions. So this is a 4/4 with haste. As long as an artifact entered the battlefield under your control this turn, creatures you control get +2/+2. So it also has Battalion. When Sentinel Sarah Lions and at least 2 other creatures attack, Sentinel Sarah Lions deals damage equal to the number of artifacts you control to target player. Nice little payoff for all those treasures. Now we also have some decent outlaws to give haste and vigilance to so we can get maximal value. Great card to give haste to is this Priest of Fellrights. It's creature, human, warlock. It's a 2/2, tap, pay 3 life, sacrifice it, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. It has Unearth as well. I love this lady. She's cavorting with some stags, brother, in the moonlight. This is a great card to recur some of our dead or discarded creatures. Get them back quick. Now Dauthi Voidwalker is a rogue. I've loved this card since it came out. I have like 4 or 5 of these things because I opened a couple boxes of Modern Horizons 2, but the problem has always been that it has Shadow. You know, you want to swing in with it, but doing that removes the option to use its tap ability. Not so with Vihaan out there, because our dude now has vigilance. We also have Vhan the Broker. Looks like the actor who plays Loki in the Marvel movies, but he's got a whole grip of relevant abilities that we can use the second he comes down with Vihaan's haste. And of course we have the Killing Quill out there, 3 mana, legendary creature, vampire assassin with the biggest face in Magic the Gathering. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it with a hit counter on it. Assassins, mercenaries, and rogues you control have Death Touch. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from a card that player owns in exile. If you do draw a card, create 2 treasure tokens. The Killing Quill, man, I've mentioned this card in like 4 videos recently, so it must be good or at least have some synergy with outlaws. Creatures are gonna die, bro, and this lady gives 3 out of 5 outlaw tribes Death Touch. Speaking of Death Touch, this guy will Death Touch you right in the heart, dude. The Blood Sky Sire, legendary creature, demon rogue, it's a 2/3 with Death Touch. Has boast for 1 in black. Target player searches their library for a card, shuffles it, puts that card on top. Activate only if this creature attacked this turn and only once each turn. Giving this guy vigilance and haste is key. I've always loved this card, man. I know it's a little clunky, but it's overperformed in any game I've played it in. With Vihaan out there, this is a reusable Death Touch lightning tutor. Get what you need. Plus this art is super metal, man. Best showcase in my humble opinion. Now you could lean more into combat, right? Anthems like Jor Kadeen if you wanted to give your treasures a little boost. For me, I like to avoid combat as a win condition in these types of decks. Sometimes it's going to happen, especially if you got 10 treasures out there and they're all little 3/3s. I like Drain though. It's just so good, stacks up so fast. Now the rest of this deck is treasure creators. You can salt to taste, you know, you can go expensive, you can go a little cheaper. I would love to highlight 1 or 2 though, and this guy, Descent into Avernus, right? 2 and a red for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put 2 descent counters on this thing, then each player creates X treasure tokens and Descent into Avernus deals X damage to each player, where X is the number of descent counters on this card. This card used to be a great budget card, man, now it's up to like $8. Then of course we have Reign of Riches, 3 red for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens. The first spell you cast each turn that mana from a treasure was spent to cast has Cascade. These guys are out in the club making it rain, dude. Remember, we can also just use these tokens for mana after attacking. And this card makes treasures on ETB. Such a good card in this deck specifically. Then we have Blood Money. Look at how terrified this lady is of just money exploding up off the ground. I have no idea what's happening in this card, and I don't care, dude. Blood Money is a very underrated card. It's too bad they come in tapped, but this is a great way to make a lot of treasures. We do have some recursion and some creature dying effects, and this sets us up nicely for the next turn. So I optimized this deck a little bit for casual play. I didn't put a lot of combos in there. Once you stick a dockside in there, it's very easy to combo off. I also stuck in a more optimized mana base. You can check it out if you want. Decklist is in the description. I prefer budget decks, but sometimes it's fun to just pop a bunch of pricey cards in the deck, see where that takes you. Treasures as an archetype is fittingly one of the priciest archetypes out there. You need treasures to make treasure, dude, and every time one of these treasure producers comes out, they garner a lot of attention. Now, even though this deck is a little more expensive, I think a bunch of my budget decks could compete, so check those out as well. Check them all out if you want, brother. I have a ton up there. Hundreds of decks, lots of good ideas for all budgets. This one is a lot of fun though. Nicky G, Better Commander, signing off.